Hello and welcome to At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Oftentimes people hear the word leader and they think only of political leaders, but leaders come in many forms, and that's worth exploring. I'm Jim Hoyer, born and raised in West Virginia, a husband, a father, a new grandfather, and a retired military leader, serving for over 40 years in public leadership for our state and nation. Now, the most important mission I have going forward is to educate, motivate, and empower our next generation of leaders. At the leadership table with me today is Brogan Dozier, a student leader at West Virginia University. She's the co-founder of the WVU Center for Community Engagement Roots program, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. Former Student Government Association vice president. She also had the opportunity to serve as a press secretary intern for Senator Joe Manchin. She is now our new graduate intern for the West Virginia Volunteer Organizations Active in Disaster. And she is a native of Jefferson County, a great young leader. And Brogan, we appreciate you being at the leadership table with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So Brogan, I'm going to ask you the same first question we ask all of our guests. Please share with us a standout moment when you learned something really important about leadership.
I think the first and really only memory that comes to my mind is when I was serving as our student body vice president at WVU. I was very lucky to be in that role, but I also served during academic transformation. So it was a tough time to be a leader at WVU. And I had to learn a lot that being a leader didn't necessarily mean having all the answers or knowing all the answers. In that sense, I needed to be a shoulder to cry on. I needed to be someone that you could talk to, someone that could bring voices that couldn't get to the table to speak at. And I just had to be that person for a lot of people instead of having the answers, because there were not a lot of answers out there.
Yeah, and having been involved in part of that myself, I do want to pay tribute to you and the other student government leaders for your work and participation in what was clearly a challenging time for all of us, but something that we needed as an institution to tackle to maintain our vitality long term. So thank you for that work. So you, in your young academic and professional career, you've had a lot of experiences, as we talked about just a minute ago. Can you tell us a little bit about those experiences and how they've led you to where you are today?
Yeah, of course. I've always been really involved my entire life. I don't like not having anything to do. I like to be busy. And I'm lucky enough that each experience that I've had, whether that being the VP, being in student government, just in general, working for Senator Manchin, they all taught me something different, and I learned different things about leadership and the world and community through all of them. They all shaped me to be the person that I am, to make the decisions that I make, and really I've never had a bad experience in any of these roles, so they just continue to make me want to continue on doing more and more.
And what drives you? What's your passion for the future?
What drives me is definitely my family. My grandparents weren't always afforded the opportunities that I was afforded, and they always taught me to leave any place that I'm at better than how I found it. So I'm always looking to make them proud. I'm always looking to better places that I'm at. I'm always just trying to improve anything or be a person that someone can come to and ask for help, or any situation, do what I can to improve it.
So earlier we touched on the Roots program. Can you tell our listeners what is the Roots program and what has that program been doing both historically and lately in West Virginia?
Yeah, so Roots is pretty new. We started it last year. It started as an advisory board to the CCE here, the Center for Community Engagement. There were about 12 of us to begin with, and we just wanted to help. that's what we started on. We just wanted to help. We wanted to identify problems. We wanted to identify areas of need and get students involved in community service, whether that be on a large scale or a small scale, whatever that is in between. So we worked a lot with the Center for Community Engagement, and then we were lucky enough to also work with land grant engagement. We were all very heartfelt and upset about the flooding in southern West Virginia. So we jumped in and started a flood relief program. We got so many items. We collected donations at women's basketball games, at the Alumni Center, all over campus, and the community really came out and was so excited to help us. And then further on down the line, we focused a lot this past year on flood relief just because it was what was attacking West Virginia at the time. So a few of us, including myself, were able to go down to Wheeling and actually be boots on the ground, mucking people out 4 days after the initial flood happened. And then a few weeks later, we were able to go to McDowell County and donate food and hand out meals and just help in any way that we could, which was amazing for so many of us because I'm from the Eastern Panhandle. A lot of the other people were from different areas, but no one was from really like down south in McDowell County. So none of us had ever been, and it was amazing to see that pride of West Virginia down there and how everyone was so excited to see WVU students.
So you got to see firsthand the challenges that people face after a disaster, and particularly people who may already be challenged economically or otherwise. What kind of impact did that have on you?
It was a very emotional drive back. I didn't want to leave. We were only down there for about 48 hours. We all had to get back to work and school, but I absolutely did not want to leave. I fell in love with McDowell County. It was gorgeous, the history there, seeing how everyone had been through this horrible flood, but no one was shaken. The community was so strong. Everyone was so excited. They were telling us stories of how they had, still made fun activities out of what had happened. And they were pushing all this sand into the main street so that they could all play volleyball for the weekend. And I was just amazed by these people had lost everything, and they were making the best of it. And they had no complaints. They didn't want anybody to feel sorry for them. They were still just as happy as ever. And I think that really shows the community that we're so lucky to have here in West Virginia.
So now you're going to get to take that knowledge and serve as the intern for VOAD and help them continue to both grow their presence and message across the state of West Virginia. Do you think that's going to give you a different take on how you work and help them? Having that firsthand knowledge?
Yeah, I definitely think that it'll help improve how I work with things. I've grown up a lot working with VOAD. I did a lot of work with them through the League of Women Voters throughout my childhood. My mom was really involved. So I'm really excited to get started and use my background, a little bit of disaster relief that I have in my background to help out.
Very good. So you had a unique experience. Not a lot of young people get the chance to serve as a press secretary intern for a United States Senator. You got to do that in 2023 for Senator Joe Manchin. Tell us about that experience.
It is, to this day, one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. I grew up in the Eastern Panhandle, so not so far from D.C., so I got to commute in every day, so I didn't have to leave West Virginia for too long. I was very excited about that. And I made the best of friends. We worked in a very small team. There were only 4 of us, including me. So I was in the room where it happened. I got to be in all of the important conversations. And at the time, Senator Manchin, the Senate was split 50-50. So Senator Manchin held a lot of power. And to have access to all of those committee hearings and drafting, speaking, talking points, everything was so eye-opening to me. And just to know that West Virginia held such power on a national level and so many people had such respect for our senator made me so proud to be a West Virginian.
And what was your biggest takeaway from that experience?
I think my biggest takeaway was the weight of words. When it came to drafting press releases, we obviously had to draft them pretty quickly. Things move very quickly, and to really sit and think on what words I was using and how they could be interpreted, because they did impact people not only on a state level, but on a national level, and sometimes even a global level with different things that we were dealing with. So to meticulously think through what words I was using and how they could be conveyed was very eye-opening to me, to just see how much you don't really think that much of how much power simple two sentences might have.
And I think that's a great insight, and something hopefully that in this divided world that we're in, that people will think about a little bit as they make statements and say things going forward. So what's up next for you?
Well, I'm really excited to get kicked off working with VOAD. I'm over the moon excited to be working with them. I'm also currently working for student engagement and leadership, so I'm seeing a lot of new student leaders emerge with working with student orgs. I'm just excited to keep taking every opportunity that comes my way and enriching my life and my experiences, and hopefully make my family proud. So
you're from Jefferson County. What's your biggest hope for your generation, this next generation of leaders going forward, for West Virginia and for our future?
I've always held a lot of pride in being from West Virginia. I think that when you are from West Virginia, you're raised up on that pride, tradition, and loyalty to your state, and I hope we never lose that. I hate when I hear people that just want to get out of West Virginia, because I love West Virginia. I think it is the best thing ever, almost heaven. So I hope we never lose that pride in our state, and we never lose, when you are a leader, you get to go to some really cool, amazing places, but I hope future leaders, they never forget where they came from and where they got, how to get where they're at.
I think that's a great advice for our young leaders going forward. Brogan, it's been a pleasure to have you. You're a great example of the talent and future leadership capability that we have in West Virginia, and as somebody who wants to see us continue to grow and be successful as a state, and as a grandfather who wants that grandson to have an opportunity to be here in West Virginia, I greatly appreciate your leadership at a young age, and look forward to great things from you going forward. And thank you for joining us at the Leadership Table.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. This has been At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Did you know you can now find me on social media at RMG Hoyer? That's HOYER, or email me at rmgjameshoyer@gmail.com.